To force open the Strait of Hormuz, the U.S. military has launched waves of coastal bombardment, tearing into military complexes with massive airstrikes. They've deployed an overwhelming volume of force to the region, including multiple aircraft carrier strike groups, projecting absolute dominance over the water. Yet, despite having the most powerful navy on Earth actively policing the Gulf, commercial cargo transit is completely paralyzed. That means roughly 20% of the global oil supply is currently trapped at port. A conventional naval blockade involves a line of enemy warships physically cutting off a supply route. The U.S. military is explicitly built to shatter that exact kind of barrier by outgunning the opposing fleet. The problem is that the U.S. is fighting a traditional naval war, but the Strait of Hormuz operates under a completely different set of rules that render standard maritime supremacy useless. This map shows the Persian Gulf's geography. Oil loads deep inside at terminals like Karg Island, traveling hundreds of miles to the Strait of Hormuz. While seemingly 21 miles wide, jagged reefs force massive vessels into specific deep water trenches, each just 2 miles across. The ships navigating these channels are very large crude carriers, or VLCCs. They are massive, unarmored steel hulls that stretch longer than skyscrapers. Because they are confined to a narrow trench and max out at around 20 to 30 kilometers an hour, their exact path and timing are entirely predictable. This geography strips these commercial ships of their primary defense mechanism, the ability to change course and evade threats in the open ocean. Modern naval air defense systems are optimized for blue water combat. They rely on having minutes or even hours of lead time to track and intercept threats launched from over the horizon. Inside the strait, the deep water lanes run right up against the coastline. If a weapon is fired from the shore, defending warships have only seconds to detect, track, and shoot it down. That extreme proximity is easily exploited by cheap shore-launched weapons, like delta-wing suicide drones. The threat is compounded by fast-attack patrol boats. These small vessels launch from hidden inlets, using swarm tactics to overwhelm a larger ship's physical defenses. And beneath the surface, simple contact mines dropped silently into the navigation channels create an invisible hazard that requires weeks to clear. Stacking these short-range, low-cost weapons on top of a highly constrained shipping lane creates a localized killbox. It is statistically impossible for any defending navy to maintain a 100% interception rate. This introduces a harsh strategic reality. The blockading force doesn't need to win a naval battle, or even sink a large number of ships. They only need to inject an unacceptable level of unpredictability into the transit route. This graphic compares the extreme mathematical mismatch of this conflict. A coastal military can fire a $20,000 drone at a $100 million cargo asset, requiring the U.S. to defend it using a carrier group that costs $2.5 billion a month to operate. Because of that severe cost asymmetry, the individuals who ultimately dictate whether global trade flows through the strait aren't admirals. They are maritime insurance underwriters working out of Western financial capitals like London. When violence spikes near a choke point, these actuaries calculate the statistical probability of a ship taking a hit. As those odds rise, they immediately multiply the war risk premiums charged to shipping companies. If the volatility inside the killbox climbs too high and the math stops making sense, those actuaries will simply revoke coverage for the entire region. Shipping corporations cannot legally or financially operate multi-million-dollar assets without active insurance. The moment coverage is pulled, the fleet voluntarily stops moving. In the 21st century, the combination of tight geographic bottlenecks and cheap asymmetric weapons neutralizes superpower navies. The military can clear the water, but global trade will remain paralyzed until someone can clear the rest.